Okay, so I think we're good to get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fall 2021 Semester International Orientation hosted by the International Student and Scholar Services Office. We are your international ambassadors who are going to be helping you through the orientation process throughout the semester. So first and foremostly, we just want to say thank you to everybody that's joining us live today. And just a reminder that this video is being recorded and it will be posted up onto our YouTube account in about a week's time. So the way that we're going to go ahead and do this today is we are going to give you a quick 30 to 40 minute presentation, and then we'll leave the last 20 or so minutes for questions from the audience. And just a reminder again that you can drop your questions into the chat at any time throughout the presentation, and we will try to get through them in chronological order at the end. So our topic today is how to get settled when you arrive in the United States and at the University of Utah as quickly and easily as possible. So before we get started, we're going to just briefly introduce ourselves. So Alakia, I think you're starting us off.
Yep. Hey, everyone. My name is Alakia Morgan. I'm a third-year pre-dental student majoring in biochem with a minor in psychology here at the U. I currently live in South Jordan, Utah, but I'm originally from South India.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Megan Jensen, and I'm a fourth-year student, and I'm majoring in urban ecology and getting a certificate in GIS as well. And I was born in Las Vegas, but grew up mostly in the Salt Lake area.
My name's Rachel. I'm a second-year medical student at the U, and I also did my undergrad here in Chinese. And I'm also from Utah. I've lived in Salt Lake for a while, so happy to be here.
And hi guys, my name is Mike Park. I'm a fourth-year journalism student, and I'm originally from Seoul, South Korea. All right, so I think we're just going to get started right away. Megan, are you in charge of the slides? Great. So the first topic we're going to focus on today is setting up an American bank account. So one of the first things that you really want to get in order when you arrive is making sure that all your sort of financial transactions work without any issues. So obviously you can use a foreign card and a foreign bank account, but if you really want that security and safety of making sure that none of your transactions have any issues, you really want to probably get an American bank account. Next slide, please. So for today, we're going to use Wells Fargo as an example, but just a reminder that we're not sponsored or endorsed by Wells Fargo in any way. So here are some other options that you can choose from, including Bank of America, Chase Bank, Citibank. These are all really popular banks in America. Look them up online before you go and just find out which one is the right one for you. Next slide, please. So the easiest location that you can find is probably the one that's right near campus. There's a Wells Fargo location right under President's Circle. So if you are just walking down that street, it's really hard to miss because it's on the same block as the FedEx shipping shop and the Pie Pizzeria. So if you want to go in person, that's probably the one that you want to go to if you're on or near campus. Next slide, please. So a couple of things to remember when going in person to the Wells Fargo location is you have to bring your I-20 and passport just to confirm that you are, in fact, the University of Utah student and that you're legally allowed to be in the United States. You also probably want to bring enough money to deposit in cash into your bank account. I would recommend starting with about a month's worth of allowance, but it's really okay if you want to go a little bit over or a little bit under. It's just a recommendation of how much you're probably going to spend within the first couple of days or weeks. Another thing to remember is you probably want to expect a little bit of wait for your check-in card to get delivered to your home address. They're not going to just give it to you right on the spot. They will probably send it to you and it'll take a little bit of time, maybe a week. And last, and probably most importantly, is you have to reserve an appointment in advance. They're open on weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And also they're not open on weekends. So just remember that before you go in person. Next slide, please. So you're probably wondering at this point, can I do all of this online? And the answer is yes, but you are going to need either a social security number or an individual taxpayer identification number. And if you're new to the United States or you haven't been there for a while, chances are that you probably don't have these forms of identification. So yes, you can technically get your bank account set up online, but you are going to need these forms of identification. So it's probably easier to just go in person. If you are really obstinate about wanting to get this done online, you can go to your nearest Social Security office and get a Social Security number, but that kind of defeats the purpose. So it's easier to go in person probably. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is setting up your phone plan. Unlike the banks that we just talked about, this is probably going to be easier to do fully online. So if you go to the next slide here, we're using Verizon as an example, but again, not sponsored or endorsed by Verizon in any way. Other networks that you can use include T-Mobile, AT&T, and Google Fi, which I am personally using. So if we go to the next slide, we're going to see this Verizon website here. If you go onto their main website and you go click on the Shops tab, it'll show you this list of other tabs. You go into plans and it'll bring you to this page where you have either the choice to choose an unlimited or a prepaid plan. Next slide. Yeah. So the main difference between an unlimited and prepaid plan is that for an unlimited plan, your network is going to give you as much data as you want for a fixed price, which you will be paying for at the end of the month. So for an individual plan, that's going to cost anywhere between $70 to $90. For a prepaid plan, you will have to pay for it at the beginning of the month, and they will often give you a limit on how much data you can use for that billing cycle. So because of that reason, prepaid plans are a little bit cheaper usually than unlimited. But again, you run the risk of, if you run out of data for that billing cycle, you just have to wait until the next one to use more data. So when you're picking out your plan, just be aware of the fact that there's going to be these sort of other charges, which include regulatory fees and definitely taxes. So that's going to add anywhere between $10 to $15 to the price that it's listed on the website. So if you're getting, say, the $70 unlimited plan, it's realistically going to come out to somewhere between $80 to $85. So that's something to just be aware of. So when you are done choosing your plan online, Verizon will deliver your SIM card to your home address where you can just activate it online. And then you will get your American phone number and you can start using your plan and your data. Next slide. So if you have a little bit of time and you want to just get it done as quickly as possible, say like literally on your way from the airport, there is a Verizon store in town. It's right on 400 South when you get off of Trolley Station. But my recommendation for going in person for a phone plan is doing a little bit of research on the plans before you go in, because when you go in, likely you're going to be sort of inundated with a lot of information. The workers there will tell you about the benefits of this plan or that plan, and you may end up sort of paying more for something that you don't even need. So I recommend if you're going in person, look it up before, find out which plan is right for you so that you can go and absolutely sort of get the right thing. But the thing about in person is if you choose your plan, they'll activate your SIM card for you on the spot, so you don't have to wait for that delivery. Next slide. And my life hack for this topic is, if you can, make sure to join a family plan. It'll lower your monthly fee by anywhere between $30 to like $50. So like I said, if you're joining that $70 plan, for an individual person, that'll come out to $70. But with a plan of 3 or more people included, that'll go down to anywhere between $35 to $50. So if you have friends here, or if you know people here that are already in a family plan, make sure to join that to save some money.
Okay, so now we're going to transition to talking about where you can find clothes, winter clothes in specific, winter boots and other winter essentials, as well as where you can get groceries and kitchen and home appliances. So, okay, so some basic things that you'll need, because Utah gets really cold, it snows throughout all of winter. You're definitely going to want to invest in a good jacket, sweater, hoodies, some good boots. I have fallen and slipped on campus multiple times. I've even fractured myself doing so. So definitely get some good boots. Beanies, earmuffs, if your hands get really cold, gloves or hand warmers are nice. Fuzzy socks. I love fuzzy socks. I never leave my house without fuzzy socks during the winter. And an umbrella for when it rains. So on the next slide, I have some basic places where you can get all these things. So the first place is Costco. Costco is a wholesale store. It has anything and everything that you can think of, from clothes, shoes, boots, sorry, food, electronics. It has toiletries, hygiene products, everything that you can possibly think of. But the only thing about Costco is that you need a membership to get into. So if you do know anyone that has a membership, use it, go with them. It's totally worth it. I've heard of this hack from a friend. I don't know if it's real, but I've heard that if someone gets you a Costco gift card, you can go in without having a membership. I've never tried it, but my friend has done it before and it's worked. So if you want to finesse the system that way, try it out. Let me know if it works. And then you can just keep adding in money to that card and you can just keep using it without getting a membership. So yeah, try that out, see if it works. Some other places are Sierra Trading Post. These are the addresses. Most of these places I've tried to find that are in and around Salt Lake, really close by to the U. Either you can take the train or walk. Another place is Target. Again, it's kind of like Costco, but much smaller. You can find a lot of different things, clothes, shoes, food, hygiene products, all of that stuff. Same as Ross, but Ross is going to be a little less expensive. And same as Walmart. You can find all of these items, but Ross and Walmart, I think personally, are slightly less expensive. Online, you can always buy stuff on Amazon. And there's Columbia Sportswear. You're going to want to invest in like good quality jackets at least. You're going to be wearing them for months, for the 4 or 5 years that you're going to be in. So you might as well, get a good quality jacket, even if it's going to be expensive. There isn't a Columbia anywhere near the U or in Salt Lake. So you can always go online and order online. And there's 2 malls downtown. There's City Creek and Gateway. That's a picture of City Creek. It's a really nice mall. I would say City Creek has more options for clothing. So I prefer going to City Creek rather than Gateway if you're going to buy clothes. So next slide. Okay, so where to buy groceries and appliances. Okay, so these are all places that are right next to the U. You can walk or take the train and you'll be there, except for Costco. Everything else is there. There's a Trader Joe's that's right by the train station, the stop, as well as Smith's and Harmon's. Trader Joe's is slightly more expensive. It's just a normal, typical grocery store. It also has a lot of international frozen meals that are sometimes, helpful if you're running around a lot and don't have time to cook. Smith's and Harmon's, you're gonna find those almost everywhere in the city, as well as like throughout Utah. They're gonna be your most common places for groceries. And they're slightly not as expensive as Trader Joe's. So Smith's and Harmon's is good for your everyday grocery shopping. Costco, it's bulk, so it's going to be more expensive, but you buy in bulk. Again, you need a membership for that. And there's also Whole Foods and Sprouts Farmers Market. You get a lot of nice organic stuff here. So that's something that you guys want. You can go to Whole Foods or Sprouts, and they're also next to the U. Next slide, please. Okay, and for your kitchen appliances, again, Costco, Target, Walmart, you're gonna find a lot of things in those places. So those 3 are good to go to. Another place is Bed Bath & Beyond. It has a lot of kitchen appliances as well as bedding, bath, and home decor. So you can get your towels, soap dispensers, mats, other home decor, photo frames, clocks, pillows, bed sheets, all that kind of stuff. You can get those all in this place, as well as Kohl's, same situation. And there's a place called At Home. There isn't one that I could find that was downtown, so you can always shop online. They have a lot of home decor, furniture, and kitchen and dining appliances and things like plates, mugs, bowls, all of those kind of things. So these are a couple of places that are in and around the University of Utah that you can easily access to get all of those things.
Okay, so I'm gonna start talking about how you can start making connections after you've arrived. And I think this is really important to just have a more fun experience and start meeting people and feel a sense of belonging here and start building a support group for yourself. And I found that it's very important for me to reach out and join groups and those sort of things to just feel like I belong at the university and have a support group. And you could get involved in so many groups. There's so many types of organizations and things at the university. And whatever you're interested in, you can probably find a group that you can join. But there's a lot of groups that are geared toward international students. And so I'm just going to walk you through how you could start getting involved with those. Okay, so like I said, there's tons of student organizations at the university, a lot of international student organizations that you could join. And I've thrown up a list of examples, but there are a ton of them. And the picture on the right is from an event from the Nepalese Student Association that I found. But yeah, there's a ton of them. And I'm going to walk you through how you could start to search for any student organization that you want to find. Because sometimes it feels overwhelming. Like, where do I start to find these organizations? So there is this website, it's called Campus Connect. It's a university website. You can search for a bunch of organizations and events on this website. And I've thrown the URL up there in case you want to copy it and look it up. But if you click on this tab that I've highlighted, the organizations tab up on the top left, then it'll take you to a page that looks like this. And on the right is a list of all the organizations that are at the university. And on the left, I've highlighted this categories section where you can search for certain categories and types of student organizations. So if you click on that drop-down menu, you can search for cultural or intercultural or identity-based student organizations. And on the right, it'll give you a huge list of all of them that you can search through. So let's say I was scrolling through and you were interested in the Indian Students Association, for example. You could click on it and it would take you to a page that looks like this. And it has all of their contact information and a little description of what they are. So for example, this one says they aim to promote India-related educational, cultural, and social exchange of interests among the student community. It has their email and phone number that you can reach out to. But I want to highlight this right here that I've circled. They have a link to their website, an Instagram page, and Facebook page. So if you click on any of those icons, it'll take you to their page. And most of the student organizations that I found have a website or some sort of social media group, which takes me to my next point. You'll definitely want to follow the social media groups that are associated with these associations and organizations. So this is an example of the Indian Student Association Instagram page. So this is where they'll usually post announcements and events that they're doing and any types of things like that, or just students talking to each other and getting involved, making friends, that sort of thing. I also want to point out the International Student Council, or ISC. That's not geared toward any one culture or anything like that, but it's a lot of international students, and actually any student can join. I'm a part of it. I'm not an international student, so it's just a bunch of students, and they do lots of fun events. And I also want to point out the International Student and Scholar Services, or ISSS, and that's the office that is walking you through orientation and helps you with your visa and that sort of thing. So they would also be a good group to follow. So I want to just point out International Student Council again, ISC. That middle picture is an event that they did. A bunch of students just went on a hike together. So those are the sort of things that they do. And also on the right is a poster from International Night from 2019, which is a really huge event actually that they usually do in the fall, I believe. And it's just a ton of people come, and there are performances, and students from different countries set up booths to represent their home country, and it's just really fun, and there's food. And we couldn't have it last year because of COVID, of course, but hopefully we'll be able to start having that soon, and just lots of events can start happening again. So basically, I just recommend to start finding your community and reaching out to these different organizations and looking them up and searching around so that you can start finding your place and your people, and so that you can just have a better experience here.
Okay, so I have kind of a bunch of random things to share that are just helpful tips and tricks that we thought would be good to share with you. Some of them are apps, and some of them are just like helpful pieces of information. So we have some apps that we've separated into different categories. So some helpful school apps that we feel would be really helpful for everyone to download would be the Canvas student app. So this is where all of your classes are going to be. You'll be able to download this app on your phone, and you can get notifications whenever like a teacher posts an announcement, or if you get a grade on an assignment. You can view your class information and stuff like that all through Canvas. So that's a really helpful one to have. The Outlook app, which is the top right one, that is the school email that you all should have. And that if you download that on your phone, that way you can check all of your school emails that go through that. The bottom left, you have Google Translate, and this is one that is helpful whenever you're learning a language. I feel like when I was learning Chinese, I had to use the Translate apps all the time. So I think that's always helpful if there's just a word that maybe somebody says, you can just look it up really quickly on your phone and like have access to that really easily. I would say it's not something that you should rely heavily on to translate like large chunks of language, but it's definitely helpful for when you need a quick translation on something. And then the bottom left is the Safe UT app. And I think we've talked about this in the last webinar as well, but the Safe UT app has a lot of resources for students just to stay safe on campus. There's a crisis line. So if you need to talk to somebody and it's an emergency situation, you can call them. There's also like submitting a tip, and then there's also a few other things that are on there. And so we recommend students download that so they can have access to security and like other things that are on campus. Here's one that's also a really big one. It's called the Mobile U app. And I listed just some of the things that are on there. So it has the campus map, the shuttle tracker, where you can find parking. There's things about campus life. So any announcements when there's going to be big events. If you want to look at like the social media that they have, things that are going on with campus safety. There's academic support. So you can do like scholarships and financial aid through it. You can look at like your tuition, and then there's also wellness things on there as well that you can look at for resources if you'd like to contact the wellness center and things like that. So here's some communication apps that are pretty commonly used. So there's Slack. Slack is essentially, it's like a platform for texting between groups. So you set up a group, whether that's between like a class or if that's just with like friends or something, you can set up a channel and then you add people to that group and you can text between them. And that's really similar to GroupMe. So you'll find that a lot of people use Slack and GroupMe to be able to communicate with others on campus. That way you don't have to like give out your cell phone number, but you can just add on that, that website. And you can also like add different groups and stuff. So those are really helpful, and they just use the internet. So if you're like on a plan where you're like prepaid plan or something, you don't want to pay for a lot of data, you can just be on Wi-Fi and use those as well. And then Zoom, obviously with the COVID world that we've been in lately, a lot of us are familiar with Zoom on campus. And this will be like how we did our meetings today. Sometimes people will have meetings over Zoom. So that one's a helpful one just to have so that you can be on meetings really easily. If you're like walking to a class or something, if you need to get on a call on your phone, it's really easy to do it. So the next one we have is public transportation. So Salt Lake is really great because there's a lot of ways to get around. And I would say the main way to get around is either through bus or the tracks, which is the train that we have. So there's a few different things that you can use. There's the transit app. That's the one, the green one that's on the top right. And that one's the UTA, which is Utah Transit Authority. That's all of the official buses and trains that are around Salt Lake City. So that's the official one that, that the UTA uses to track things. So you can use that. There's the Go Ride mobile ticketing. So that also allows you to pay for extra fares or something. But as a student, you can use your student ID to just be able to get on the buses or the trains and you don't have to pay anything extra. And then there's also a transit tracker. It's called Transit Tracker Utah. And this one isn't an official UTA app, but I personally think that it's a little bit better than the UTA one. So I recommend using that one to track where buses are and track where like the trains are so that you can know how long it'll take you to get somewhere or plan out a way to get to where you need to go. There's also some paid transit options. So the nice thing about having a student ID is that you don't have to pay for the trains or the buses, but it can be convenient if you need to get somewhere quickly or the weather's bad, you don't want to walk to a bus station or something like that. You can use Uber or Lyft, and those ones are just apps you can download, and it's usually a few dollars to get somewhere within town. It'll be more expensive if you go farther out, but it'll give you an estimate based on where you want to go and how much it'll cost you. So you can use that if you're interested in doing something like that. There's some options for food delivery. So there's a lot of great restaurants in Salt Lake and around Salt Lake. But sometimes being on campus, it's not always super convenient to be able to go grab food in between classes or something. So there's a bunch of food delivery apps that you can download. There's Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Postmates. So these are all options for you to order food on the app, and then someone will deliver it to you. There is a fee associated with paying for the service, and sometimes they'll give you like discounts so you don't have to pay for it, but you generally need to tip the driver, whoever brings you your food, and then you'll pay for the cost of your food as well. So it's a little bit more expensive than just going to get the food yourself, but it's definitely convenient if you're in a rush and you want to get food quickly. So there's a few things that I just wanted to cover about Utah in general. So in Utah, it gets really, really hot in the summer. It'll be over 100 degrees in the summer, Fahrenheit. And then it'll be really cold in the winter, so below freezing in the winter, and we'll have snow. Like we talked about, you want to make sure that you have really good gear for the summer and the winter. So in the summer, you want to make sure that you're wearing lightweight clothes. You'll want to make sure you drink lots of water while you're here. Once you guys get here, I would say just make sure you carry a big water bottle around with you and just drink throughout the day, because it gets really hot if you're walking around and you're busy. And a lot of people aren't used to the altitude as well. We're at about 1,300 meters here. So you'll find that the altitude difference will really make a difference. You'll feel dehydrated, you'll feel tired. So you might just need a day or two to just relax and not do anything too crazy. And you'll just want to make sure that you're aware of what the weather's like and make sure that you're dressing appropriately so that you don't get into a bad situation. And that's also to keep in mind what kind of activities you participate in. If you're going to be going hiking or if you're going to be going skiing, like you want to just make sure that you're prepared for the weather and for also the worst case scenario. So if you get snowed in, you want to make sure that you have, a good coat, and you want to make sure that you have like everything that you need. So just think about that and look at the weather report for the week. And then that's usually plenty to know like what the temperature is going to be like and what you should prepare for. So now we're just going to do a Q&A section. So we'll go ahead and answer some of the questions that have been posted in the chat. And then if you have any other questions, just go ahead and keep putting those in the Q&A section. We're really excited to have all of you coming to the U, and we look forward to meeting you all in person. So the first question we have is, what do you mean by reserving online for the bank? Do you mean that we have to book an appointment online before going in person? So maybe Mike, you can take that.
Yeah, so there are different ways to do that. Yes, there's you can do it online. If you go into the Wells Fargo website, it should be a tab called Shops and Locations, or ATMs and Locations. So if you choose the one that's nearest to you, you can make an appointment online. I just call them. Like for me, that's easier. So there's a couple different ways, but yeah, you should definitely make an appointment before you go.
Thanks, Mike. Next question is, in your opinion, how many days would it take for me to get settled in before beginning of the semester? Do any of you guys want to take that? I would say personally, if you're buying a lot of stuff, I would give yourself maybe 2 or 3 days to get everything. I think you can get to everywhere pretty closely, but I wouldn't I don't know, I would give yourself enough time to get things set up, but I don't know. I feel like everyone's very different. So I think that's hard to judge. I don't know if anybody else on the panel has ideas.
Plus, a lot of you may have jet lag, so getting over that will take a couple days as well. So it really just depends on the person, I guess.
Okay. Next question is anyone living in Downtown Commons 1? Could you share your experience? I don't know if any of you live there.
I didn't do Downtown 1, but I did live in Downtown Commons 2 over the summer, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty similar. They're like 2 blocks away, and the facilities I think are pretty similar. It's actually really neat. It's kind of like, I would say the best thing about Downtown Commons is the location, because it's right down, I think, 400 East. So if you just go straight down to 400 South, you're gonna be right at the train station. So it's like a 15-minute walk down to the train station. And then along that same street is like all the sort of like local eateries and stuff. And then you also have like Harmon's, which is like a 10-minute walk away, and then Smith's, which is again on the 400 South. So it's like really near everything, which I really liked. The facility itself is it's like very nice actually. Everything works. The heating, the AC works. Just the one thing I was a little surprised at was like the bathroom is just it's one sliding door. There's no like lock on it. So the sink and the bathroom is just separated by that one thing. But if you can get past that, I actually really enjoyed my time there.
Thanks, Mike. Next question is, how much do you recommend for tipping? Is 15% okay? I would say 15% is very standard. Anywhere between usually like 10% to 20%. And maybe if you go to like a really nice restaurant, you might want to tip more depending on how good of service they give you. But I would say 15% is like very standard. So I think that's good. Let's see. Is it okay to drink tap water? Yes, tap water is safe and it's good. And should I buy bottled water? Bottled water is also, you can use bottled water. On campus, they have installed water bottle filling stations. So pretty much any building you go to, it's really convenient to be able to just take a water bottle with you and refill it. So I would recommend, getting yourself like a nice, either like an insulated water bottle or something like that. Even just a plastic water bottle if you want to refill that, and then just fill it up there. But the tap water is also safe to drink. So, right. Are there campus tours? I'm a bit worried that I might get lost while trying to reach my class halls.
There are campus tours. Not us, but the normal campus ambassadors, the university ambassadors give campus tours, and I'm sure you can look that up online. Also, I believe we're having later in the summer or at the beginning of fall semester, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're having kind of like an in-person kind of meet and greet type thing, and us international ambassadors might be giving little campus tours for any students that want them. and I'm trying to find the information for that so I can put it in the chat. So I'll keep looking for that. But yes, there are campus stores.
Yeah, I believe, yeah, that August 20th, when we do our barbecue, we'll be doing campus stores for people who want to do that. So that's a good, yeah, that's a good chance. But if you want to schedule your own when you first get on campus, that's a really good resource that Megan said, to just contact the ambassadors on campus. So I think that was good. Let's see, where can we find the recording of this webinar? It will be posted on the ISSS website and also their YouTube channel, and it'll take about a week for this to get posted. So just be patient, and if you don't see it, go ahead and email the orientation email, and then they can also get you the link for that as well. Next one, is using the Federal Credit Union student account a viable option? How does it compare to Wells Fargo and Chase?
I don't know much about the Federal Credit Union. Do you guys have any knowledge on that?
I have the student one. Is that, I don't know. Megan, do you have something?
No, I don't have experience with the student one either. I know there's a location on campus.
Yeah, so I actually have that account. I go there, and it's really good, especially if you're paying for housing with their, they have like a card through them, and you can actually get a lot of rewards back from that. And it's also really easy to like pay tuition and things, but their credit union is really good too. So if you want to do that, it's pretty simple to set up as a student, and you don't really need a lot of like credit history to set it up with them, because they know you're a student, and like, especially being an international student, it might be a good option. As far as how it compares to other banks, I think it'll be a very similar experience. I don't think you're going to have a really like different special experience with either one. So I think whatever you choose to do will be okay. Can we share the school map? I will put that in the chat. I will put a link to that in the chat.
Let me do that.
Also, we are having another webinar on August 5th of just how to get like a good campus experience. So we are going to do a more detailed like campus sort of map tour that day. So tune back in then if you want a sort of more detailed online tour of the campus.
And then do one of you want to address the social security number? Is it a good idea to get a social security number? If so, when?
Yeah, like having a social security number definitely helps a lot, especially because a lot of like sort of transactions or things that you want to get done in the States require you to have like some kind of license or like some kind of identification. So for example, like I don't have a social security number right now, and I can't accept money coming in from like PayPal because I don't have that. So if you don't want those kind of troubles, get that. I think also if you want to buy a car, you need a social security number. But don't quote me on this, but I think in order to get a social security number, you need to have some kind of like work. So if you have some kind of like work lined up on campus, I think that is when you are able to get one. I'm not sure if you're able to get one just straight out of like, if you're just a regular student, I don't know that you can just get one.
Okay, the next question is, I'm not 18 years old yet. Can I create an independent bank account? I personally don't know the answer to that question. But Mike, do you have any thoughts?
I'll look that up right now.
Okay, we'll look that up and we'll let you know. Unless anyone else knows the answer to that.
I do not know the answer to that.
We'll go to the next question. Is there going to be a recording? Yes, if you didn't catch that, there will be a recording. It will be posted in about a week on the ISSS website and the YouTube channel. So you can find those there. And social security number. How does an international student get a social security number? Mike, can you just repeat that one more time?
Oh yeah, I think you need a job like on campus. So I have a friend who works at the ISSS office. So she was able to get a social security number. In terms of like actually getting there, there are Social Security offices like just, nearby. So just find the one that's near you. There's one, I think, on 900 East or something. So yeah, it should be pretty simple. It's kind of like going to the DMV. You just go, you apply for the thing and you wait and they give it to you.
Okay. And do any of you have experience with Chase? If yes, can you briefly tell us what do you think of it? I have a Chase card. It's good. I feel like it's really similar to a lot of other cards, but I don't have a Chase bank account. So if any of you have a Chase bank account.
I don't have a Chase bank account. I have heard good things, but that's all I can offer.
Yeah, I think most of the places that you'll find around here, they'll be really great. And like, I think they're used to having a lot of like international students that will like do business with them. So I like, don't think you'll run into any problems. And if like you do have questions, like most all of the ambassadors that you will see if you come to the barbecue or if you see us around, like you can ask and hopefully we can help you with any other questions that you have. All right. Are there any last minute questions that you guys might have? We still have quite a bit of time, so. Okay. Well, I don't see any more questions popping up, so we will stop the recording, and then we're just really excited for you guys to start. We're happy that we're able to have some of you join live. I know that the time difference can make it really hard, so thank you for being here. If you have any other questions, feel free to email, and then we have our next webinar next week. Do any of you guys know the exact date that it is?
There's one on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us on Monday. Megan, what's the topic for that one?
It is how to enjoy Salt Lake City. So we'll be talking about fun things to do. So it'll be a fun one.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We're really happy that you could be here.